What is up everyone, welcome to the channel and welcome to a bit of a different video today. So today we're going to be talking about engines. Yeah, engines you'd say. Which engines? All Honda kind of engines. But before I start, I'd like to ask you to subscribe to the channel and like and comment on the videos. And for everyone that's already subscribed to the channel and like and comment on the videos, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. So let's move on to what we're going to be talking about in today's video. So today we're going to be talking about this and also this and a bit of this and maybe some of this and not this. So yeah guys, today's video is about what engine to go for if you're going to convert your Honda Civic, your Integra, any Honda that you have that you want to put a powerful engine in, like I'm doing with my EG Civic. There are plenty of options out there, so if you don't want to listen to me and go with what you want to do, that's completely fine. I'm not biased, I'm not going to give out if you give out about this video. But we're going to start off this video with the holy grail of engines. The first engine on my list is the notorious B16A. It's from the 1989 up until the 1995 Honda Civic CRX. It is the Japanese side of the engine. It's the B16A SIR. Now, good thing about these engines, they're really reliable. There's barely any maintenance in them and they have good enough power for if you want a street/race car, light car. If you lighten it out, they're really good. So the B16A comes with 160 brake horsepower and 111 foot-pounds of torque. But that's the pro of it. Now the con of it, a B16A conversion nowadays in Ireland could cost you between €2,000 and €2,500, which is astronomical. Then we're going to move on to its European brother/sister engine, the B16A2, which boasts the same amount of power and the same torque, but it's just not as good as the SIR engine. I think the ECU brings the Vtec in earlier, but it's still a really good engine, and in Ireland they can fetch between €1,000, €1,500. So I'd say between $1,250 and $2,000 for a full conversion for EG, EK or DC chassis. Now we'll get on to the mental stuff. The B16B Civic EK9 Type R engine. It's a really good engine. They come standard with 185 brake horsepower, and they have about 118 foot-pounds of torque, and they come with an LSD gearbox. It's one of the best gearboxes you can actually get. They're really good, the ratios are really good in them, and they're a strong engine, really fit, really strong engine. Then we're going to step it up to the B18C. We'll go with the SIR engine. Is a really good engine. It's a lower compression engine than all the other B series engines, so that's why most people go with the B18C4 and the B18C SIR engines for turbo, because it's a lower compression engine. Personally, I don't like the engines. They look nasty. Look at it, it just looks, that slug intake is nasty, but you can change that and make it a higher compression engine and more powerful. Now, as standard, these cars come with 175 plus brake horsepower and about 120 foot-pound of torque, which isn't bad, but it's a 1.8 litre, and in Ireland they can fetch €1,500. They're really expensive engines, between 15 and $2,000 as well for a full conversion for a B18. Now we move on to the daddy of all B series swaps, the B18C Type R engine, 96 spec and 98 spec. The engines are the same. They do have a little bit different lift in the cams. They come with different gearboxes with different ratios, but they do come with a limited slip diff. They are 197 brake horsepower and they come with 134 foot-pound of torque. That's what they say from factory, but they do be a little bit more or a little bit less, but they are a really good engine. But for the price, you're looking at about $4,000 in Ireland for a full conversion for a B18C, which is silly money. Now we're going to move on to the pros and cons of getting a K series to put it in your EG, your EK or your DC chassis. Now bear in mind, if you are K swapping your EK, you do need a EG or a DC subframe for your car, because the K swap engine will hit your subframe in an EK as they're shaped differently. So guys, we're going to start off with the K20A2, which is the UK/European engine. They come standard with about 200 brake horsepower. When I say about, they're Vtec engines. They actually gain horsepower over the time and depending on how well they were looked after. And they come with around 140 foot-pounds of torque, which is pretty decent for a 2-litre motor. So the pros to these engines are bolt-on mods are readily available, cheap enough, and they do really add good power to the engines, but you will find it hard to make anything over 240 brake horsepower in a K20A2 with bolt-on mods and ECU and tune. And you're looking anywhere upwards of €2,000, probably more. I know there's a company in the UK called Vtec Monkeys. Their price now is £1,800. That's a fully dressed engine with shafts, loom, ECU, and they even will throw in the radiator and shafts. So it's £1,800 plus shipping and VAT. So you're talking probably $2,500 for a K20A2 now, where when I bought mine, it only cost me €1,400. So I was lucky to get mine that cheap. Now we're going to move on to the K20A, which came in the DC5 Jap spec and the Jap spec EP3. These came with 220 brake horsepower and 149 foot-pounds of torque, which is really good for a 2-litre engine. But for the price and the spec, the same as the K20A2, you can get full bolt-ons for these cars and make up to 240, 250 brake horsepower. But the price for a K20A motor and gearbox, you're looking upwards $3,500, $4,000 for a full conversion. That's probably not even including shafts or radiators, just engine, gearbox and loom, ECU. It's crazy money. So we're going to move on to the next engine, which is one of my personal favourites. I couldn't get one at the time, that's why I went with the K20A2. At the time I didn't realise how much power they made, but I was talking to Stephen from Iconic Auto Design. He has them in stock. He stocks a lot of these motors and they're really strong. Some of the engines, the K20As from the Accords, I think they come in HRVs and CRVs and stuff like that. They're a really good engine. The highest spec K24A engine comes with 203 brake horsepower, which doesn't seem like a lot for a 2.4 engine, but when you see how much torque these engines make, it will change your mind. The high-end K24A that comes in the Accord Type S is 203 brake horsepower and 170 plus torque, which is crazy. Then you have the lower spec engine that came in the likes of the HRV and the CRV. They're around 180 brake horsepower, but they come with 168 foot-pounds of torque. That's a super jump compared to a K20A from a DC5, and there's not a lot of power in between the two. So if you were to get a K24A engine from a Type S, you're talking 203 brake horsepower with 170 odd foot-pounds of torque. That's 20 odd more torque than a K20A. Plus, you could do modern bolts onto a K24. It'd probably cost you a couple of grand, but you could buy a K24A full engine and box ready to go from Iconic Auto Design for €1,350. Yeah, and when you purchase one of their engines, you get 5% off anything in their store. So you're talking, if you wanted to go K-swap in your EG, you need mounts. We'll go through that now anyway, what you need for a K-swap. But the K24A engine, 200 brake horsepower, 170 foot-pound of torque in a car like that would be faster than any DC5 or EP3 on the road. So you're talking €1,350 for a K24A engine. Then probably spend $2,000 on bolt-ons. Easy 260 brake horsepower with 200 foot-pound of torque with bolt-ons and a small tune. That's the cost of a K20A engine on its own. Plus, you're going to have a nicer engine and it'll run perfect with that kind of power because they're made for power with torque, because they're made to pull heavy cars like the Accord Type S. The DC5 is light, I think they're 1400 kg. The Accords are 1650 kg. So if you think about putting one of them engines in a EG Civic, which are 1190 kgs, you're talking 500 kgs less with a motor like that. You're talking madness. So let's move on to the bits and pieces that you would need to do with a K-swap. You can go cheap. You can get engine mount kits for the guts of €200 to €300, but you're probably better off spending the €400 or €500 on mounts with Iconic Auto Design. They have everything in stock. So you're talking, you need engine mounts. You're going to need, if you want to run power steering, you can get a power steering kit. You can get steel sumps. You can get engine looms that hook up straight from the K-swap to your harness in the EG, DC or EK. Another thing you would need is your ECU. You need it to be flashed to work with the EG because the immobilizer and stuff needs to be taken out of it. The likes of Kswap manifolds, they're relatively cheap. You're talking maybe €600 for the most expensive one, or you can go 800 or 1,000 with Hoda, stuff like that. But there's no need, honestly. You can go with a DC or a Tegawa one. I'm not going to make it out like it's easy to do a Kswap in an EG. You could do it in a week. I'm taking my time with it in the evenings after work. But the likes of putting the filters on it and different spark plugs and upgrading bits and pieces on the engine, you will see mega performance, especially with a tunable ECU, and you can get the engine tuned to your specific needs. So I would highly recommend going for a K-series swap, because you're looking at $2,000 to put 160 brake horsepower, 111 torque engine in your car, and that's doing it yourself. If you're getting a garage doing it, you're looking at $4,000 or $5,000. If you're looking at a garage to do a B18, you're looking at $8,000. If you're looking for a K20A, you're looking at $10,000, $12,000 maybe, with all the K-Swap parts. It would be handy if you could do it yourself. Obviously not everyone is mechanically minded like myself, my brother and other people that are doing K-Swaps on YouTube. But you do need to take into account the time and the money it does take to build these cars. The likes of the drive shafts, you definitely need to buy Kswap drive shafts. Don't do your own, because they will fall out and you'll do nothing but wreck them and have to buy Kswap ones anyway. I'd also highly suggest to buy a really good loom. I went with a cheap loom and I don't like the quality of it. I might change it in the long run, but all I want to do is get the car running. So guys, that's my take on a Kswap in an EG chassis, an EK chassis or a DC chassis. I highly recommend the K24A from Iconic Auto Design. Definitely worth a go. $13.50 for a full conversion. Then all you need are all the Kswap bits. I'll put a link in the description to the website. You can check it out if you are doing a Kswap in your car. So yeah guys, I thought I'd just do this video just to show you the pros and cons with B series and K series, with the price and the tunability. B series are good engines if you have one already and you're happy with the power, but you can't go wrong with a Kswap. Kswap is the way, and it's the new way to do cars with power for the track and road. So smash that like button if you enjoyed the video. I do appreciate everyone watching. I hope it was informative for you as it was for me, because I had to check everything on the internet to see power to weight. I had to check chassis and see what engines go in and what engines were in cars. It took me a bit. So yeah, the best engine I found was the K24A. With them, it doesn't have as much power as a K20A or a K20A2, but it does have more tunability. It has more torque, and torque wins races, brake horsepower wins bragging rights. That's it. So guys, as always, don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate you watching the video. Smash that like button, and don't forget, comment on it. Let me know what you think and what engine you would rather put in your car. So guys, once again, peace out, be dedicated, and thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Peace out.